Okay, so today what I want to talk about is Willie Williams' declaration. And the one thing that we really learned from Willie Williams' declaration, and keep in mind, who was Willie Williams? Willie Williams was the police chief of LAPD at the time that Frank Liga was killed, and at the time that Christopher Wallace was killed at the Peterson Automotive Museum. Now, Bernard Parks was in charge of internal affairs at the time, and he would have known that there was a problem with the rogue officers at the Rampart scandal. And so he was fighting his race against time because that Rampart scandal was going to blow back on him. Those were all his hand-picked recruits, and he knew that that stuff was going on. And Bernard Parks told Russell Poole, stand down, cease your investigation, don't investigate any further. And so Bernard Parks also would have known that with the Frank Liga shooting having been orchestrated, because Frank Liga has pretty much said now that he knew who he was shooting at the time he shot. And Russell Poole told me when he was alive that had he known that Frank Liga knew Officer Kevin Gaines, that he would have never cleared him in that shooting. And so this is a big deal. And this created a racial situation in Los Angeles. Keep in mind that the Rodney King verdict caused the LA riots, and that was directly resulting from LAPD and the racism that was going on at LAPD. And so this kind of held the city council's feet to the fire as to who they were going to pick, and the mayor, who they were going to pick to be LAPD police chief, because there was really a limited choice, and they really needed to, they were firing Willie Williams, and they needed to bring in somebody who was going to fit the bill racially for the city of Los Angeles. And Bernard Parks had kind of put himself in that position, even though there was so much that was collapsing around him with the Rampart scandal. He was able to hold on long enough to become police chief. Now, the one thing that's in the Willie Williams declaration is that there was a closed-door meeting of the city council where it was talked about that there were rogue officers inside of the Rampart division. And those rogue officers at the time would have been David Mack, Kevin Gaines, and Rafael Perez. And so Willie Williams is admitting that this was known by the city council at the time. Now, this probably included conversations about the Christopher Wallace murder. Now, Willie Williams also in his declaration says he didn't know anything about any of that, and clearly that was being shielded from him because Bernard Parks was putting a lid on Russell Poole's investigation. And how did that come to be known by the city council? Well, obviously it did come to be known by the city council, and maybe that's why Willie Williams was fired. We don't know that much of the inner workings, but we do know that it was brought to the attention of the city council, which means that all of this stuff rose high enough that it was known inside the Los Angeles City Council that there was a rogue police force working at the Rampart Division. Now, as normal, I'm going to include a link for the document that so you guys can take a look at it. Anyway, more later.